it's 8:30 in the morning, and I've been driving for 3.5 hours. And the reason is because I have to leave Long Island before the traffic starts. And it didn't even matter. I was still stuck in traffic for an hour at 5:30 in the morning. This is a recurring theme in our videos. Anytime we're driving somewhere, it's getting out of the New York area and avoiding the traffic. I'm here in Lancaster. Today I'm going to be testing out the Nikon D750 against the Canon M50 with the same focal length lenses. So I'm going to be using a 70-200 f2.8 lens on each camera body and take the same shots. And I'm going to see if the smaller sensor or the bigger sensor, gives me a different result. So it should be interesting. And I'm also going to throw some wide angle lenses on, take some pictures of a covered bridge that I'm going to go to, and we'll see how it goes. Stick around. So I'm out here and there's this really cool covered bridge. I picked a lousy day. The weather is just terrible and there's nothing I can do about it. So I have both cameras here with me. The Nikon D750 and the Canon M50. Both have wide angle 16mm lenses on them. I'm going to shoot them both at f4. This lens actually goes down to f2.8, but this one doesn't. So I'm going to, in the interest of being the same, I'm going to shoot them exactly the same. This is a stabilized lens. I'm not going to use the stabilization. So I'm going to try to keep everything as apples to apples as I can. It's a pretty cool little bridge back here. Okay, so I tried to get the identical shots. Now I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to put the telephoto lenses on, and I'm going to try to pull out some detail out of the bridge, maybe out of the stones. Maybe I'll take a step into the bridge, but I'll want to take some shots that are going to be close-up shots where I can zoom in and see the detail and how these cameras do with that. Okay, so now I have the 70-200s on here. So this is the Canon 70-200 with the Viltrox adapter, and here's my Nikon D750 with the Tamron 70-200 on it. I'm going to shoot them both wide open. Now this is going to be at f2.0. It's a 2.8 lens, but remember the Viltrox lets more light in. So I'm going to see what the difference is. I'm going to shoot them as wide open as I can, but all the other settings the same. I'm at ISO 500 here, just because it's so lousy out. All right, I'm going to take some shots of the rocks and whatever else I can find over here. One thing about these cameras that's messing me up is they both zoom in opposite directions. So going from Canon to Nikon, like this, I'm constantly fighting with my, I'm used to shooting Nikon, so I want to shoot that way with this camera. And what's happening is I'm zooming out instead of in every time I turn it. So just one of those little things. But I took a couple of pictures over there. We're gonna check the sharpness. And then I also took a couple of pictures of the camera here. And it's actually good because it's sitting in the middle of a little field here. And I could really create some shallow depth of field with it. So we'll be able to see if the backgrounds are any different. In fact, I'm going to take a couple of more images right from here of it, nice and close. All right, so I got to go this way. Everything about this is different. Let's try this. By the way, I'm shooting on this this little Sony action cam I have. I love it. It's optically stabilized. And it's actually a really great little action camera. It's not a GoPro. It's it's a little bit different. It's not waterproof, but we really love using this because it's very steady when you handhold. It's like having a gimbal built into the camera. Pretty cool. If you're thinking about a crop sensor as opposed to a full frame sensor, this should give you an idea if it's close enough for you, or maybe you want that little bit of depth of field difference. But I have a feeling these images are going to be very close. And at this level, these cameras are all really good. And as I said in the video before this one, the lenses are really what make the difference. And both of these lenses are professional, very good lenses that will give you a great result, probably on most cameras. Okay, so I'll see you back at home. Do you ever have a plan? I thought, nice day today. have nothing to do. Coming into Lancaster to pick up a piece of furniture. Why would you buy a piece of furniture in Lancaster 3 hours from your house? Well, that's what my wife wanted, so here I am. It's a charming little place. Just wish the weather was a little bit better. Okay, so I'm pulling into the parking lot of one of my favorite places to stop when I come here. I'm not getting anything now, but I just wanted to, if you're ever in this area, this is the largest smorgasbord, or basically a buffet in the country. Okay, hang on one second, I'm gonna spin it around here. This is the Shady Maple Smorgasbord. This place literally, they can handle 2,000 to 3,000 people at a time for food. And it's all Pennsylvania Dutch, stick to your ribs, down home cooking. But it's an event to come here. And they have a store underneath the restaurant that is absolutely tremendous, with all sorts of country knickknacks and, you know, things from this area. Very cool place to stop if you're over here. Definitely worth killing a few hours here. And you're not gonna walk out of here comfortable. You will be full. It's just the way it is. Oh, and these right here, these are the best donuts that I've ever had. They might be the best donuts in the world. I'm not sure. In my world, they are. So make sure you get some donuts while you're here too. So those donuts were as good as they looked. I have eaten way too many of those in the course of my life. But so if you're ever in that area, it's a really great area to get some unique photos. It's farmland. It's not too far from Philadelphia. The actual city of Lancaster is right there, Hershey Park. It's a nice little area. So that covered bridge, I took the shots with the Tokina and the Nikon, and they were very comparable. I'm going to put them in here. And here's the wide shot from the M50, and here's the wide shot from the Nikon D750. Here's the M50 zoomed in a little bit tighter. Same thing with the Nikon. And they look comparable. They're very similar. Then I put the telephoto lenses on. I used the Viltrox adapter on the M50 with the 70-200, the Canon, and then I had my D750 with the Tamron 70-200. And again, very comparable. And if you look, here's a couple of shots from the bridge of the M50. Here's the D750, a similar shot. Then I got in a little bit tighter from the same shot. These are actually zoomed in. And then I shot one across the river to the underside of the bridge. Here's the M50, and here's the D750. Again, they're very similar. I think the D750 is a little bit sharper. You know, these were the exact same settings. I didn't move. I was standing in the same spot, so it really, I'm not sure, but they're very comparable. Then when I turned and I faced the actual camera I was shooting on, I took these images. And as you can see, I was the first one where I was standing back a little bit, and the out of focus area in the background is very similar. So the M50 was shot at 2.0 with the adapter on it, and the Nikon at 2.8. So it's the crop sensor against the full frame. And then when I zoomed in really tight, the M50's image actually looked a little bit brighter, and I think it's a little bit sharper. And if you here's the M50, and this is the Nikon. So the out of focus area is very similar. I then took a shot of there was a building right there, had the, you know, like a stone facade, and you could see there's a pretty good separation between the trees in the background and the corner of the building. So you could see again, the depth of field difference is very similar with these two camera lens setups. So what does this mean? Well, you can get a less expensive crop sensor camera and still get really good images. And so this was funny. I actually was home, and my daughter walked in, and I said, come here, come outside for a second. I still had the two cameras out, so I ran out in the front of the house. She was not thrilled, as you can tell by these two pictures, but I'm going to put them side by side, and the out of focus area is almost identical. So you can't tell which one is which. So with the M50, you'll be able to save some money. You'll be able to get really great images. The form factor is nice and small. So that was the real point of me getting this, was I needed a small camera that was good for video. Next, I'm going to be taking just the M50, and I built out a small little kit here. I bought some used lenses, and I'm going to do a video about what I'm taking with me, and I'm going to tell you what it cost me. And I'm going to compare it to what my Nikon gear, because
it's a lot less expensive. I bought some used gear, and I'm going to take all of this with me, and then when I get back, I'm going to be able to show you the images I was able to capture, on a week-long vacation, and we'll see how they compare to what I would have gotten with my Nikon gear, because I've done these types of vacations with that before. And I'm very curious to see how a less expensive, smaller, more compact kit is going to perform for me in a situation where I can't go to my Nikon, and if I'm in a situation where I need to get a shot or I want to get a certain shot, I don't have that other set of equipment to fall back on if I want. So I'm forcing myself to try this out. And just for fun, it stopped raining for a few minutes and I was able to throw the drone up in the sky. And this is something I want to get into also, but here's a couple of images from my drone shot. So in the opening of this video, you saw I used some drone footage to lay our title over. Well, what's great about the drone is you can also shoot. It's a 12 megapixel image, but it shoots in RAW, so it's a Mavic Air that I use. And I'm really enjoying editing these images. It's such a cool and different perspective. So maybe we'll get into that a little bit, because Eric got one too, and we're both learning the drones. So the full frame sensor, the real advantage with it is going to be ISO performance. You're going to get better ISO performance, and you saw that when we were comparing them in one of the earlier videos. I'll put a card up to it here. But that's where the benefit is really going to show. Not necessarily at night when you're using the camera at ISO 100, but when you're shooting in situations where you're hand holding and you need your shutter speed to be fast enough to get a sharp shot, so you have to kick up the ISO. And there'll be plenty of situations like that, especially when you're indoors shooting sports and events and parties and those types of things. So outdoors in bright sunlight, I think the differences between a crop sensor and a full frame sensor are pretty negligible. If you put a good lens on either camera, you're going to get really great images, and you can definitely save some money. But if you need low light performance, that's where a full frame sensor is really going to benefit you. But unfortunately, that costs more, and the lenses that go with those cameras cost more. So that's the trade-off. Hopefully this helped you out a little bit. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you like these types of videos, and click the little notification bell, let you know every time we upload a video. And we'll see you in the next one.